Well, you highlighted some of the matches in there. I want to go back to the Casino Gauntlet match and kind of tie it in a little bit with Bryan Danielson, because you saw my tweet where I kind of hinted at something that I wanted to bring up, and I want to get your thoughts on this. And you're a Ring of Honor guy, so you might go along with me on this one. I've interviewed Nigel, and I've gone to 2 of his magic shows that he's done. And both times that I've been there, number one, when he does that show, I don't want to give much away because you got to go see it if you haven't seen it. But he bangs on Bryan Danielson that whole time. He does. He rips him apart and talks about, the stories about, how he revealed an injury and Bryan didn't, and how that changed the trajectory of their lives. And, it's just, there's the whole story with Bryan is so deep now, especially, you hear the commentary that he's just tearing him apart. And at the same time, he loves Christian, right? He loves him.
He does.
He loves Christian Cage. The guy that decked him in the Casino Gauntlet match. We've heard rumors about, they want to maybe give the world championship to Darby Allin. I don't think they should do it. And here's my thought. We've got a big show for World's End coming up at the end of the year, and they're going against the WWE house show. How awesome would this be to have Nigel against Bryan Danielson at World's End? With all the history behind them. And if you don't know that, they had these massive matches in Ring of Honor where Nigel just could not win the world championship off of Bryan, including an Iron Man match. And seeing the shape that Nigel was in, by the way, he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I say Iron Man match between the 2 of them at World's End. And Nigel wins. And then Christian, his buddy, the man he loves so much, cashes in on him with that Casino Gauntlet title shot and spoils the whole thing, setting up a feud between the 2 of them at World's End. I think that would be a full circle moment for the 2 of them. And honestly, I think they've been setting something like this up, because I was trying to figure out, well, why did Christian win this? Well, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the reason. So what do you think about that possibility, SB?
I mean, that would be very interesting, and I'm not gonna shoot down anything that involves another Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness matchup. I've had the privilege of seeing them live in the Hammerstein Ballroom go at it in the past. I've watched all their matches in Ring of Honor when Bryan was the champion and when Nigel was the champion. So I don't mind that at all. Me, myself, my preference is that you got to do that matchup in the UK, in London. Like, I don't know if you want to wait 2 years for All In 2026, but I feel like maybe that is the place in Wembley Stadium where you can probably get maybe an extra 10,000 people and make it 60,000 in Wembley Stadium in 2 years for Bryan and Nigel going at it. Or if you want to do it next year in the UK for Forbidden Door. I just had that inkling in my heart that that's the best place to have it. But like I said, I'm not going to deny having it at World's End, especially when you're competing with WWE, doing a house show just around the corner from you. You're going to need big matches. And I'm also not going to deny Christian Cage becoming the AEW World Champion, because Christian Cage, I don't know if you know this, but he is my father. He's all of our fathers.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, yeah. Really? Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of that. I'm pretty proud to call him my father. But he's everyone's father, so it's okay. He has a lot of kids. But Christian Cage is also one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I was always more of a Christian guy than I was an Edge guy. Edge and Christian is like my favorite tag team of all time. Like that was the first like heel tag team that I ever liked when I was a kid, when I was like 11, 12 years old, and they're doing the 5-second poses. I remember doing it in the back of my class in like 6th, 7th grade, doing the 5-second pose as the teacher turns around and writes on the chalkboard and then sitting down before they turn around. So I've been in love with Christian Cage. I've enjoyed his run so much in AEW because there's not a lot of bona fide heels that are not cool heels that just get heat as much as possible, go for the low hanging fruit, but it does it in a very effective way that sometimes, you know, someone like MJF, who I think is also an excellent heel, I don't always think that his low hanging fruit gets him the type of heat that he's looking for, whereas Christian always hits the mark on that. So I think that Christian will eventually cash in this contract and become the AEW world champion on Bryan and send Bryan off and end his full-time run. But I think it might come earlier. I think it will. I think that they are setting it up with the reports being out there that Darby Allin strongly being talked about to be the person to beat Bryan Danielson coming up at Grand Slam in Arthur Ashe Stadium. I think that is all a setup for Christian to come in, swoop in, and he's going to beat either Bryan or insert himself and make it a triple threat to beat both Bryan and Darby to become the AEW world champion there. And then it sets up at Wrestle Dream, 1 year in the making from last year's Wrestle Dream, where it was Christian versus Darby for the TNT championship in the main event. 1 year later, it's Christian versus Darby for the AEW world championship, and Darby wins the AEW world title there, because I'm also a big Darby Allin fan. I've said it on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. I will say it to you. I think he's one of the best TV wrestlers I've ever seen. Someone who's always entertaining, that has this character, that always gets a big response from the fans. And then his TV matches are always top notch, whether he was TNT champion, whether it be this year with his matches with Hangman Adam Page, Konosuke Takeshita. He's a guy that I've been saying for about 2-3 years now needs to become the AEW world champion. And I think that before the year is out, he's going to win that title.
Bold statement from SP3 from the Tru Heel Heat Podcast. Hi, pro wrestling fans. Mark Hoke here. I'd really appreciate it if you would take a moment to join the Mark Hoke Show family, and please click on the subscribe button below. Also, please stick around and check out the incredible sponsor of this video. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on the Mark Hoke Show YouTube channel.
Looking for high-quality custom screen printing in Las Vegas? Look no further than Off Grid Creations. Need a few custom t-shirts for a local event, band merchandise, or family reunion? We've got you covered. Large order of uniforms for your staff, sports team, or club? We can handle that too. Our experienced team will work closely with you throughout the entire process from design consultation to final product. Call us at 661-300-1115. That's 661-300-1115, or visit our website at off-gridcreations.com. Get a free consultation today.